Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Hey, thanks all for joining us. Joseph, back from Indianapolis. Welcome back. Lance,
thanks for having me.
Arkansas. Delaney is postgraduate travels. So good for her. Good for you,
Somewhere
Papa. Papa. Congratulations, Papa.
Thank you.
Ton of news. We'll start off with the easy one. Joseph, our juror bailed on us.
No, the juror was very nice. He just couldn't do it today because of a work commitment. He's been off since the trial lasted 2 weeks. He apologizes. He says, I want to be on your show. I just can't do it today. So I told him we have a standing offer. He can join anytime, and we'll try to get him on this week or sometime soon. So
that's where we are.
Yeah.
But we have a ton of news. Let's go to it. Number one, what do you do if you are missing a payment from Treasury for a batch of loans? Who do we contact? Do we contact Treasury at treasury.direct at fiscal.treasury.gov, sbanswerdesk.gov, contact your local office, contact Fresno or Little Rock? Lance, this came up last week. Go ahead.
I'm not real sure. I'm going to guess, Bob, because I'm so inundated with the.
Well, you answered it. You answered it last week. So let's see if you're consistent.
I'm going to encourage you to communicate with your local district office.
That's what you said last week. Very good. Yeah, this is an unusual situation. And I agree with you. Contact them and say, hey.
They may not be the actual place to answer your question, but they're a good place for you to start to not, get lost in trying to navigate getting an answer. They should be able to help you find the right person.
The takeaway was we had a bank with a similar name. Treasury sent the money to the wrong bank. There's really no way of tracking that, so make sure you've got to go in and make sure the payments that you have are yours.
Yeah.
Lance, they said they had 3 payments. They got 2 of them where the bank sent it to them directly. I don't know if that's the right procedure.
These were 11, 12 payments, which certainly are different than your forgiveness payments on PPP loans. It's hard to imagine them getting that mixed up, but it's certainly a possibility. So I'd start with my district office to help find the right place to get an answer.
The takeaway is have some sort of follow-up to make sure that the payments you're expecting you're getting. And if you get a pile of money, you have no idea who it is, don't have a party.
No. No need to buy a Lamborghini there, Bob.
Number 2, will the change of the 7A fiscal transfer agent have an impact on your organization?
I want to see the answers, but it should be pretty seamless.
Yeah, tell us how this works. I know we have. Give us a little FTA 101. Why do we need an FTA, and how does it affect us, Lance? Go ahead.
Well, the fiscal transfer agent is how we report our loans via the 1502 report. It's also how we send money, fees and things like that to SBA. I really don't think you should notice much of a difference, but you should have gotten an email with information about setting yourself up for making and receiving payments via that. So, make sure whoever your authorizing official is pays attention to that and get your institution set up properly. And many of you use platforms. Those platforms will get updated and take care of it for you. The thing that's funny is when I went into E-Tran, when I started looking around in 1502 reports and stuff like that, it looked a little different for a minute, but then it went back to looking the way I was accustomed to.
Down memory lane, there was a company called Bradford Trust. If you're that old, they used to handle this. And but who's Guidehouse, and how does Guidehouse? Who is Guidehouse? Tell us about that.
I wish I really knew, Bob. They're the facilitator or the intermediary, Wells Fargo is involved in this, but Guidehouse, I assume, is somebody they've contracted with to set up 1502 reporting and to be the fiscal transfer agent.
But in the past, it was all Coleman, right? There was no.
Yes.
Yeah, it transitioned from Coleman directly to Guidehouse, and then Coleman did what they did. But that, and Coleman's been around forever. But now it'll be Wells Fargo. I agree with Lance. It should not be an issue. It should be seamless. No forms are changing, Lance, correct? Nothing's changing, just addresses.
I've not seen anything in that regard change at this point.
And here's a little cheat sheet that you should, that we got directly from the notice. If you have, this is what we send. And if we have any problems, make sure that your people are using the right account numbers. I assume if we send it to the old account number, it'll be sent back to us, Lance. Now we're speculating.
My guess it'll bounce back, yeah. But whoever your authorizing official is needs to make sure and get these set up properly.
And let's see, this is more information. There's a payment address. And if so, Lance, if we have some sort of questions, like who do we contact? Joseph or Lance, who do we contact?
I would assume in the notice there's a questions email address, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this is provided. These are all of the different purposes that you would go through and all the different email addresses. So SBA provided us this morning with this wonderful information.
Are those new email addresses, or are they the same?
I have no idea. I don't know if they are the same or not, but that's what we were provided this morning. So they're the newest.
Lance, do you know if they're new?
Some of them look very familiar, Bob, and the SBA.gov email addresses all look pretty familiar to me, Bob. So
okay, very good. So that's it. It's a logistical. It's nothing earth-shattering. Just make sure whoever's in charge of that knows we're changing it. The reports are the same. Everything else is the same.
We do have a question. It's a just big picture. Why are they changing? Why is Coleman changing to?
I can't answer that, Lance. You want to?
Yeah, I don't really know the answer as well, Bob. It had worked for years with Coleman, and I'm not exactly sure. I would love to be able to give you an answer, but I'm not exactly sure why they changed.
Well, I do know they've been talking about Wells Fargo for years. I mean, this came up right after the Great Recession. They were talking about changing. In fact, they were going to do it, then someone intervened at the last minute to stop it. I don't know what the politics are. Obviously, these decisions, there's a lot of money involved. Moving money around. I don't have the answer. I don't know. So.
And Bob's right. This has been talked about for years. I mean, we've been told for years that the fiscal transfer agent was going to change, and Wells Fargo's been talked about for years. So this has been coming for quite some time, and finally it's here.
Yeah. And because we've had changes of administration and Republicans, Democrats, and they've always been talking about going to Wells Fargo, so that's been consistent. So on the surface, I don't see anything untoward on this. Lance, where are we on our numbers? Where are we on SBA Direct Forgiveness Portal?
Well, I just am here to tell you that the Direct Forgiveness Portal continues to work extremely well. We've had a number of portals in the PPP loan process that SBA's rolled out, and they crashed. Well, I'm here to tell you there are an incredible number of forgiveness applications flowing through the system, and we've not seen any hiccups at this point. My head is foggy by this time of the day at the number, I'll get emails from people. You approved my forgiveness request. Yeah, I'm like yours and a few thousand others, but it's working incredibly well. I think the borrowers have embraced it. It's obvious by the numbers. But the way it's working, we may be through PPP forgiveness with the exception of the stuff over 150 by the end of the year. It's very possible.
Awesome. Which year? Fiscal year or government?
No, not the fiscal year, Bob.
The calendar year.
Cool. I'll have to have a new hand from clicking. I'll have your post-traumatic stress syndrome in my hand. If we get through it by September 30, I'm saying that at the pace that is, and we all know that everybody's incredibly excited about it right now, including borrowers and participant lenders, Bob. And, you know, I would have expected incredible numbers early, but ask me this question next week. You know, I came in from the weekend, Bob. I had a little bit of trouble sleeping on Saturday night and got up and approved a couple thousand forgiveness applications in the middle of the night. But came in this morning and there were 3,000 or 4,000 new ones sitting there waiting for our attention. So in my opinion, it's working incredibly well. It's still not too late for participant lenders to opt in.
To do it.
You just go into your forgiveness portal, which you can't see my other screen, but you go in your forgiveness portal and go down to your institution settings and you have the opportunity to opt in. But it's right now it's working incredibly well.
Lance, we have a question. How soon does SBA reach out to the borrowers after a lender signs up for the portal?
Well, something our SBA, of course, does communication. Part of the reason for our incredible flow right now is we, as a participant lender, reached out to every borrower under $150,000 and said, hey, the direct forgiveness portal's ready. It's quick, it's easy, but we've made quite an effort to reach out to our borrowers, and I'm sure other lenders have done the same. But it's SBA's going to.
Oh, someone went on mute.
Yeah, I think we lost you, Lance.
Lance, you're on mute. Lose you?
You might have dropped for a second. Yeah.
Drop for. Okay. Hey, let's while Lance is trying to figure out how to reconnect, and we'll solve that. Let's talk about this homework assignment, and this is from our training, and this is, I asked for an SBA loan
Start
success.
the process of communicating with borrowers. They've had a couple of national email, but I don't know.
All right. All right. You with us? You back with us, Lance?
Okay.
All right. You were, we didn't get the last 50 seconds. Don't worry about it. All right, Lance.
Little internet snafu.
Hey,
but I mean, to finish off my story, Bob, it's not too late for other lenders to jump in.
Okay,
it's not too late for other lenders to opt in, and it's working incredibly well. So please consider it.
We like to do homework assignments for our trainers, our trainees. This is in my underwriting class. Lance also has homework, and this week's homework assignment was, hey, give us a success story, just a couple paragraphs, and this is a nice one from Brianna. And she started out as a conventional credit analyst, and she switched over to SBA 3 years ago. And she had one customer that they switched over to an SBA situation where they can get more money. And they have two partners, which is always a red flag, but they got all the transactions and they understand how it works. And these deals were done in 2016. They acquired a store that was struggling, but they turned it around. Go to the next slide, Joseph. And both partners have made great improvements in the properties. They have more inventory, which Lance, as even in liquor stores, we got to have that inventory.
Sure.
And they've captured the market. The notes have been paid down. They've never had a delinquent payment. The only payments that were even past due were the CARES Act payments. Great communication with the customers. They have a strong deposit relationship with the bank, which we don't talk about that very much, but you get that. And they also have a lending relationship where they were able to finance houses and cars. And every year their financials show improvement. So this is a great story of two people getting together using SBA. taking a turnaround situation and doing well. I think we have one more slide on it.
Yeah, the last one's right here.
Yeah, and I love this. Is you can read the passion in this, and this is great, Brianna. This relationship stands out the most to me as a success story because it is exactly what my institution as a community bank strives to build. We have good customers here who call us when they need us. We never have to go looking for them. During COVID, they contacted us, but payments are always made. The collateral position has improved from both. They've improved the properties and they've made payments. And that's a nice story, Lance. And we talk about the Fraud Fridays and the PPP loans, but we don't talk about this one. We're missing. But there's employees there. They've become a staple in the neighborhood, and good for them.
Oh, absolutely, Bob. And liquor stores as a industry category performed incredibly well during the pandemic, and very smart call to jump in and participate in an SBA loan for this industry. But it's fun to hear, Bob, you know, you and I both, I got into small business lending in 1983 in the small business arena because I grew up in a small business and I love small businesses, and these success stories are what make us stick with this and enjoy being a part of SBA lending.
And you're also creating generational wealth. That's the new term now, where they can build it up. They can transfer it to their kids, but they're getting equity in their houses, and they're in the community, and that we need to keep this in mind. This is why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
Real quick, yeah. So thank you very much for that, Brianna. For the rest of you in my class, I'm looking forward to your homework assignments, by the way. They are quasi-optional. Joseph, so we haven't, obviously, the trial of Carey, of the 5 defendants all found guilty. The sentencing is going to take well over 90 days. They need to do sentencing hearings or whatever. But we don't expect something for a while. Correct, Joseph?
Right. Any new news will be maybe an appeal. We've talked about that. All 5 of them are planning on doing that, but we will we'll keep a good eye on that and report on it when it comes in. So, but right now it's at least 3 months until the sentencing. So.
Yeah, and that's so we will follow up on that. We'll follow up on whatever other stories that we have on that. Real quick, Lance, we have a couple webinars coming up. What are we doing on Wednesday? Unforgiven 2.0. Why is this important now? What are we talking about? Servicing?
Well, guys, we talk a lot about how you take care of your PPP loan portfolio. And, you know, it's kind of learning on the fly, Bob, because we're supposed to service these the same way we would other SBA 7A loans. The SOP 505072 is our guide. But you know, not only will I share the information, but I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned as I walk through the process with, you know, borrowers who have gotten in trouble and their car and their bank accounts have gotten seized. You know, we'll talk a little bit about what do you do in that circumstance, but we're going to talk about how to service your PPP portfolio on loans that were not fully forgiven.
Yeah, Joseph, we need to change it. We're combining the August 25th and August 11th. So
okay.
And then we'll follow up following week with projections, because that is so critical, especially in today's environment where what do we do, and SBA is looking at them, and we got to get the correction numbers right. So, and we're still taking registrations for our online training, and I appreciate, Lance, we're getting great reviews. So Lance, you're doing a good job. Good for you.
Well, it's so important to properly get trained as a closer or underwriter, and the bank serve trial is great evidence that that's important training.
Anyway, we have a lot of, that's the news. We're expecting a lot more coming up this week. It looks like the dog days of summer will not hit us this year. As the world continues to change. But thank you for taking time out and for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Thank you, everyone.